Alright, so I'm just gonna get right into the story. This is the one that's the hardest to tell because it's really weird in a sense. Like, I understand that some people won't believe it, or they'll think I was losing my mind, or you just don't believe in paranormal stuff. Whatever. Hey, I understand. Actually, at this point in my life, I am extremely factual. I don't It's very rare for me to believe in anything that I can't prove, okay? Or has some facts behind it. That's like with paranormal experiences or supernatural experiences. There's no reason for somebody to believe that unless you have something happen to you. That's my belief. Anyway, so regarding an incident that has to do with Kurt, this happened. I remember the exact day, actually. It was November 5th, 1993. I was sitting in my room. Okay, first of all, a little bit of history here. This house that I lived in was, it was haunted, in a sense. I mean, it was like, I had some weird things happen to me, for sure. Um, Maybe I should go into that. Something was going on in the laundry room and there was nobody in there. Stuff was happening in there, and I could peek um, through the paneling in between my room and the laundry room, and there was nobody in there at all. And the washing machine was turning on by itself, or almost turning on by itself. Record player turned on by itself. Anyway, so this house was there was weird stuff going on in there. Now I wanted to tell you that because it all kind of makes sense when when I tell you what happened. So I'm sitting there in the downstairs room, which that's where stuff was going on, most in the house, and I hear this voice. It's I guess they'd call it a disembodied voice or something. It was kind of like right in my ear, and it said, "Kurt is going to be murdered. You need to go see him." Um, and I don't know what to say, man. I really believed it. I was 24 in 1993. Good health. I mean, I didn't even really drink too much. I probably smoked cigarettes, smoked a little bit of weed, but, you know, that just wasn't something that happened to me. Hearing things in my head or whatever, right? But I'll tell you what, uh, I know what I heard, and it freaked me out big time. I really thought that I had to see Kurt, you know, and then I didn't really know what to do. Like, okay, for a couple days, I talked to some friends, and one friend, and she's still around to this day. And after Soaked in Bleach came out, I called her and I asked her to watch Soaked in Bleach. I'm like, "Do you remember when I was freaking out and I told you that I heard this thing that told me that Kurt was going to be murdered?" And she remembers it, and I told her about it. Um, anyway, so time goes on, and it's really kind of freaking me out thinking about the incident of, why there's something wrong. So Nirvana was playing in Salem, Oregon with the Melvins and the Breeders. And I brought a friend Sherry, friend Janie, which which is who I told I had this incident happen. And then another kind of girlfriend, Angie. I don't know where she is these days. Anyway, so Sherry drove us down there from Tacoma. It's about 4 hours, three and a half hours, something like that. So we drive down there, and I think the car broke down once on the way down there, and then I don't know, we somehow got it started again, and we made it the whole trip. So anyway, so we get down there, and I find Chris. Chris puts us all on the list and gives me a backstage pass. Um, and the whole show happens. I end up going backstage earlier, and Kurt wasn't around. Um, so I just watched the show, waited till afterwards, and my backstage pass was gone, and I don't know what happened to it. So I do end up getting back there. I talked to one of the dudes like watching the back gate, and they went back and asked Kurt if John could come back and say hi or whatever, and Kurt was like, yeah. And so I went back there and got to hang out with Kurt for probably about an hour. And of course I didn't say anything to him what happened to me, and I really wanted to say something like, hey man, be careful, this happened to me or whatever, but I didn't. And while we were sitting back there, so somebody wanted the guitar signed, and then he was going to sign it and give it back. Somebody gave him a bunch of pictures of Frances Farmer. I remember Frances Bean was there. She was really little, and she was eating macaroni and cheese. And my three friends came in. The security people let them in, so they hung out for a little while. And at some point, I talked to Kurt. I wanted to get back in touch with him. He was like, yeah, definitely. He asked me where I lived, and I lived in a closet at that point. Actually, it was a closet big enough for a smaller mattress and like a few things or whatever. And I remember him saying something like, hey, you want to trade? you know and I laughed, and anyway, he gave me a couple phone numbers to reach him. I'm pretty sure one number was for the house by Lake Washington, and one number was for a guy named Michael Megiel, which he was like a manager or whatever. And Kurt said you could try calling him and getting, my new number. It sounded like he was moving to Carnation. That's what he told me. He was going to be living in Carnation. So, oh yeah, this show was, you can look it up. I think it was somewhere around December 19th of 93. So it was a couple months after that incident happened with me in the house where I heard that. And at that point, I don't remember hearing anything. There was nothing on the news that Kurt was like, he had no deed yet. I don't remember anything on the news that worried me, So anyway, Kurt gives me these numbers, and he wants to keep in contact, legitimately. So that was it. I remember when I was leaving, feeling like it was the last time I was gonna ever see him, and I don't know. It was pretty emotional, and I don't. Sorry, guys. I know it's weird. So fast forward a little bit, not much left of the story, though I did try to call the numbers. The house number, nobody ever answered. And I'm going to include the actually the piece of paper that Kurt gave me, because I had it for years and I sold it pretty recently for. I'll tell you, the guy that bought the note from me is trying to sell it. Anyway, so Michael Measle never got back to me. He answered the phone. I talked to him. But then, I found out that literally Kurt was on tour. If you look at the time off that they had between when I saw him and when he died, there wasn't much time off. And the time off he had, he was either in rehab, all that time, is super famous now, what the hell happened there, or people kind of know what happened, or he was at home maybe for a few days here and there, but they were on tour a lot, so he didn't really have a lot of time to himself. Anyway, thanks for watching. I know this story is pretty far out, so just groove with me on it. It's the truth. So, anyway, that's that. Thanks. Bye.